Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Afro's Law. And today we have with us Christine, and she went to an interesting seminar that she actually learned a lot about student loans and how it's affecting people and how they can get help. So, Christine, let me start by saying it's good to have you again and to tap into that knowledge.
Thank you, Lizette.
If you can just give us a quick response, as I know time is limited, so let's just dive right into the questions. So,
Okay.
And see what we can learn from this experience. Tell me, like, student debt is a huge problem in America. I think it's basically all over the world because everybody needs to go into debt if they want to study further, or, you know, if you want a decent job, you need to have a student, you need to study further, and then you need a loan, because some people, they can't pay it out of pocket, or some people don't usually get like a scholarship or something. So they have to go into debt to be able to study for what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, if I have a lot of student debt, how can that affect my credit score?
Well, it's just like any other debt, Lizette, you know, depending on, you know, what your debt is relative to your income, you know, how, if you've been making payments with that debt, and how much. A lot of people in the United States, and I don't know if this is the same in South Africa, the education, you know, university education, from what I understand in most other countries, isn't as costly as it is in the States. People have loans, you know, especially if they go on to professional degrees, like as a lawyer or a doctor, they can have loans up to 300 to 500,000, like what it would be for a mortgage, like for a really nice house. And because the way interest works, and you know, there are options for folks who, you know, whether they lose income or if they have an emergency and medical situation where they're not making income, they can apply for relief. I don't know why I've got a bit of a cold. And but at the same time, yeah, just like any other debt, when you have debt that you owe to the government, especially, it becomes like, even with bankruptcy and things where you can discharge some debt, you may not be able to discharge the student loan debt. That said, there are options, and it's usually good to speak to someone like a bankruptcy attorney that probably focuses on student loan debt. And and the seminar that I watched was put on by a couple of bankruptcy attorneys that do focus on that. But the good thing is that there is student loan debt relief that's been passed in this administration that provides discharge of loans up to $20,000, which is for a lot of folks a blessing, because they carry a big burden of student loan debt.
Yeah, that I think that can be a big blessing. And then now it brings me to another question. So if I don't qualify for that student loan debt relief, what do I need to qualify firstly? And then if I don't qualify, what is my options then?
Yeah, so I think the first thing anybody wants to do is to figure out what kind of student loans that they have. And going to studentaid.gov, and I know we are posting a blog about this to provide some of the links where people can go to figure out what kind of student loans that they have to see if they are eligible for the relief. I do know that, you know, William Ford, federal direct loans, so direct loans, FFEL, federal family education loans. If you were awarded a Pell Grant, these are the types of loans that if you receive those loans or have those loans, you'd be eligible for this relief. And you have to be in an income range. If you're a single person and you have these loans and you make less than $125,000, or if you are part of a couple and are married, the amount is $250,000. But I think the best thing to do is to go to studentaid.gov and see the information there. There is an application that's really short that they just put on. They just put on their website to apply. So I would encourage everyone to go there to see what kind of loans that they do have and to apply if you meet the criteria that is there based on, looking up what loans you have.
That is awesome. Definitely. So that is a good point. Everybody should go to studentaid.gov and then find out if they qualify or not. I think that could be very helpful. So if I do not qualify, what are my options then? What do I do?
Yes, there are attorneys that focus on this area, bankruptcy attorneys, like I mentioned before, and consumer attorneys. You can find one of those types of attorneys that focuses on this area to sit down and assess what your options are. I would suggest you do that. The National Association of Consumer Advocates has, you can search by practice area, and if an attorney is in one state, they still may be able to help you in the state that you're in. I just want to make a point of that. And then the National Association of Consumer Bankruptcy Attorneys. Also, there are bankruptcy attorneys that focus in the area. One thing I want to mention is to beware of scams, because you may, receive some kind of solicitation, a phone call, and so forth, promising to help you with your federal student aid, and you really shouldn't ever pay anyone to help you with that. I would always go to the school that you're considering, or any school department, to have, if you have questions about federal student aid. And in terms of like obtaining, a discharge of a student loan and so forth, you shouldn't ever give your personal information or account password to anyone, even if it's an attorney. And if you think that you have been solicited by some potential scam, you should report it to the Federal Trade Commission. And as I said, we have that on our blog this month, but reportfraud.ftc.gov is a simple email. Sometimes I'll forward an email to that website, and they'll provide you with an email that you can do that, excuse me, can forward if you feel like you've got a scam like email. And there's a phone number too.
That is okay. That will be probably on the website, right?
I think both are in our blog this month for on student loans. Excuse me.
So this is going to be helpful, folks, because not only will you be able to I will put a link in underneath our video, and then you will be able to see our blog for this month, and you will be able to see all the links, the helpful links that could really, really assist you guys with figuring out if you qualify for that student loan relief fund. And then if you are not qualified, it's not the end of the world. There will still be help, and you will figure this out. I think just, going to studentaid.gov will give you a perspective and will help you to figure out what to do from there. Yeah. Then the last question I want to ask you, Christine, because I know we have to hurry, would be, how do you get a lower interest rate on your student loans?
Now that's something I can't answer, Lizette, because that's where you would contact, the school that you're interested in and their federal student aid office, and to inquire about the different plans and options. And that studentaid.gov may provide you with some resources also to follow up with, but you really need a professional. And what I was suggesting is that you don't necessarily have to pay for that. The school that you're considering or any school department should be able to help you with that. Even the high schools, I would think now, would be able to have some resources for you to follow up with, because everybody's situation is different in terms of their income and their family situation and their resources. So it's really fact specific to that particular potential student candidate. And so, but there are a lot of options, a lot of scholarships out there. And I know there are folks who focus in this area, and for a fee, they will help you. But there are a lot of resources if you just put in the work that you'll find out what is available to you, and interest rates and things do change. And so sometimes consolidating prior loans for a lower interest rate. But before you do that, especially with federal student loans, someone should always make sure what you're giving up before you do consolidate your loans to a lower interest rate, because sometimes you may be giving up a benefit that you had with the prior loan.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that always. So
Not always.
that is true. So that is true. Christine, is there anything else you would like to add for our viewers?
There isn't, Lizette. Thank you very much for the good questions.
And thank you for your insight. As always, it's been my pleasure doing these small snippets or interviews with you, because we all learn so much each time. And we really thank you for your time and your input. And guys, be sure to check out our blog. It will be fantastic, especially if you have questions about student loans. And there's no time like the present. So hop on there, like this video if you want, and please share this video to anybody you think they might find it helpful or interesting. And we might help a few folks, as well as our blog. Please don't forget about that. So yeah.
Thank you, Lizette.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
You do the same. Have a good day.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.